Yesterday we had a wonderful sessions on curriculum design and teaching learning practices, outcome-based education and evaluation, international accreditation and ranking, followed by 2 case studies. We had wonderful discussions and a pleasant evening also. Hope this day also will continue with the same spirit. Today's first session is on all-round development of students. We are here with us the eminent professors Dr. Rajesh Tandon and Dr. G.L. Datta and Dr. S. Satyanarayana Garu to give their valuable address. For this session, I request Dr. D.P. Agarwal, former chairman UPSC and director IITM Gwalior, to act as chairperson.
Good morning and thank you, Chair. I shall follow your instructions, though I have, like others, suffered longer presentations yesterday. You were saved. You were fortunate you came only last night. I want you to, first of all, understand where I am coming from, because I am not a quality expert and I no longer teach in a university. I began my academic career as a student of Dr. Anand Krishnan from IIT Kanpur. My degree is in electronics engineering. Did my MBA from IIM Calcutta, and for want of anything better to do, became a lecturer there. And decided to do my PhD, and for field work spent a year in southern Rajasthan just after political emergency had finished. And the thesis, I was doing a PhD in management, and the thesis topic was organization development for rural transformation. And I spent a year in the field among indigenous people of Udaipur district. And I don't know what I learned in terms of academics, but I learned 2 things about myself. First thing I learned was that despite my heavy-duty academic credentials, there were a lot of things about life and living which I did not know, including how to drink water from a well in southern Rajasthan. And the second thing I learned, which was even more painful, was that illiteracy does not equate to ignorance, and that despite the fact that most members of the community at that time, some 40 years ago, in southern Rajasthan were illiterate, they were extremely knowledgeable. That experience began to challenge me to think about knowledge residing in places other than books. In those days, computers were not available, so they could not reside in computers. Nowadays, they reside in mobile phones. And I'm bringing that perspective so that you understand that my starting assumption is that knowledge today resides in multiple sites, and academic institutions and universities are only one of them. And the second thing that I learned in the process is that cognitive instrument for use of knowledge production is not the only mode of knowledge production. You develop knowledge by experience, by doing. There is a whole theory of learning by doing, and we saw mechano modeling yesterday. That's what labs are meant for. But there is also acting as a mode of knowing. And there is a body of knowledge called action research, which emerged post-World War II. So cognition, action, and experience, emotion, all these are forms of knowing, and therefore academic institutions relying solely on preparation of cognitive mode of knowing do not prepare the quality that Dr. Anand Krishnan's third slide yesterday presented, where he said knowledge of domain knowledge is the only one part of it. There are other expertise or competencies that are required, one of which is lifelong learning and learning from others. So that is where I'm coming from. I spent there for last 38, 39 years in combining local experiential knowledge with secondary knowledge, with experimental knowledge, with academic knowledge in order to find solutions for social change. And 5 years ago, I became UNESCO chair in community-based research and social responsibility in higher education. So I am coming to the question of quality. This propaganda, you can see later, as Dr. Agarwal said, it's all available on the website, what publication have been done. I am coming to the question of quality in higher education from a slightly different vantage point. I am coming from the vantage point of public good. I believe higher education is for public good, not just for private gain. Now that implies that the three missions of higher education institutions, as we call them, teaching, research, and outreach or service, these missions need to be redefined if you look at higher education for public good. Because teaching, research, and outreach kinds of, or extramural kinds of statements of mission have been written from the point of view of those who administer higher education institutions. They have not been written from the point of view of those who live in society outside. So preparing global citizens, that means teaching and learning that goes inside. Science for society, research for society. Today we are facing a hugely problematic discourse between open access on the one hand and intellectual property right on the other. Knowledge society is being undermined by knowledge economy. So whenever knowledge commissions are set up, they don't ask the question, what knowledge will benefit society? They ask the question, how economy can be stimulated by knowledge. There is a contradiction there. And if we don't recognize it, we may pretend that we are doing one, in fact we are supporting the other. And service, unfortunately, starting from NSS days and even earlier, service has been seen as outreach function, where the expertise, the knowledge, the wisdom resides in universities, and we go out and teach poor people living outside how to do better in their life. I would like to suggest that if you look at it from the eyes of those poor people living outside, or the rest of society outside, then service must empower them, must value what they know, and must build their capacity to lead their lives in a better way. The benchmarks, therefore, social responsibility benchmarks. Learning citizenship as a student. There is a lot of debate these days about value education, ethics. Yesterday, all kinds of frameworks of NBA and NAAC and all talked about teaching of ethics. I remember in grade 6, we as students were taught civics. Civics education was not about citizenship learning. It was about where Parliament of India sits. And I couldn't care less where it's at as a student. You learn citizenship by living, by acting, by doing things. You learn ethics by making choices in real world and debating those choices. You don't learn ethics by reading a moral sermon alone. Creating responsive knowledge. There is a growing movement around the world which says that science must be with and for society. There are people asking questions about accountability of science and scientific enterprise. And in European Union now, if you receive any European Union funding under the Horizon 2020 program, which began 3 years ago, you have to demonstrate that you are doing responsible and responsive science, that your research is responsive to the needs of society. For too long, our universities and higher education institutions in India have become marginalized. Marginalized in society. They have become enclaves of wisdom, knowledge, expertise, resources, excitement, but cut off from the rest of the society around them. I would like to suggest that socially responsible higher education institutions, therefore, must become an anchor of society. KL University, sitting here in this area, could become an anchor institution for public dialogue, for finding social innovation, for creating solutions for challenges that face society in 500-kilometer radius of this campus. But as we discussed yesterday, there were a number of challenges that were posed, particularly around ranking. And Dr. Anand Krishnan, in his very thoughtful and incisive comments, debunked some of the notions around ranking. Because if we are chasing global ranking, we may actually not be looking at local needs at all. And in some respects, chasing those rankings may deviate you from your purpose of becoming socially responsible locally. Dr. Kurup, in his presentation yesterday, mentioned a great deal about what competencies imply. And I like the point that he made, which is similar to what I have been working on, is that learning should have a simultaneous focus on knowledge, which you can store in your head, awareness, which is stuck in your heart somewhere, and skills. You can have a manual on how to ride a bicycle, but unless you sit on one of them, fall a few times, scrap your knees, you will never learn how to ride a bicycle. That's skill. Skill is learned only by doing. We teach research methodology in our classroom, and we find that most of them don't know how to do research because they never learnt it by doing. So there are a whole set of competencies which require learning by doing. And learning by doing can happen in two contexts. It can happen in simulated situations, like those who learn how to fly an aircraft, they learn it in simulation. But you can also learn under supervision in real life. And if you get opportunities for students who learn in real life under supervision, they may acquire confidence along with the skills. This discussion happened yesterday on linking curriculum to real-world problems. There is no topic being taught in KL University or any engineering college for which you cannot find a real-world context where it can be also studied. Your theories and frameworks can only be revised and improved when they are tested in the real world. I want to move on to an important theme that I have been working on, which is on co-construction of knowledge. And co-construction of knowledge in partnership with those who are struggling to find solutions. This phrase, when I use this phrase, it rings a lot of bell for those who are working on industry partnerships. So academia industry partnerships and engagement has been encouraged around the world, also in our country. Your Honorable Chief Minister has announced a university higher education industry engagement center which will be set up with FICCI somewhere in Amravati nearby. He needs to be reminded, just as we need to be reminded, that industry is only a subset of society. It is not rest of the society. It is not whole of the society. And engagement with industry typically implies engagement with formal, large corporate industry. Bulk of the economic activity in this country is carried out in small, informal, medium-sized economic enterprises, both production and service. But engagement with them has not been tried. So when we talk about engage co-construction of knowledge, we consult academic institutions, consult industry as clients to define research agenda, to find solutions to challenging problems. Why do we not consult rest of the society? Why don't we consult the district Swachh Bharat Mission director here in Vijayawada about what challenges he or she is facing in providing 100% ODF solutions? Why don't we consult those who are trying to build housing for the poor as to the architectural challenges they face in design and material? Because somehow that does not generate economic returns. Knowledge economy drives those engagements, not knowledge society. So, social responsibility in an engineering institution like this, socially responsible engineers, innovations in STEM teaching. If you look at the notion of socially responsible engineers, it is not very different from understanding how you can frame engineering questions while you look at the world around you. You walk out of the campus and go to Vijayawada station, and you can find several hundred engineering questions if you frame them from that lens. If your knowledge of engineering is situated in a societal context. You can do the same for architecture, for business management, for hotel management. Between the campus and the railway station of Vijayawada, there will be hundreds of small hotels called dhabas. Most of them are economically very viable and profitable. Do our hotel management students ever interact with them to understand how they do their hotel management business? It is important that teaching, therefore, of professionals is situated in a societal context. That is where professional ethics would be learned, not through a sermon in a classroom. And therefore, standards of social responsibility need to be defined. Several of my gurus are sitting here, so I may not say so, but the concept of profession was service, not commercial degree or commercial remuneration. So, if we believe that engineering is a profession, architecture is a profession, law is a profession, medicine is a profession, we have to situate that profession, learning of that profession, in a socially responsible, contextual manner. My belief is that if you do this, you are already addressing everything in quality. Because quality is not a set of procedures. Quality is a mindset. If our dominant attitude is chalta hai, anything goes, then quality will always suffer. You can walk in an institution and visit its bathroom. If it is clean, there is a belief in quality. You don't need to study their curriculum afterwards. Quality is also a matter of dignity. If we believe that it is associated with my work, how many of us proofread several times a letter we write to anybody because we want to be seen as writing correctly? That's quality. That's our aspiration for quality. And it is part of me and part of my institutional identity. So we will do less, but we will do well. This is the notion that I think needs to be seen as a part of culture. And building institutional culture in higher education institutions is not something that happens over a 2-year or 3-year period. It takes years and decades. I want to stop here but show you a slide which you may find interesting in your future work. As I mentioned to you, as part of my role as UNESCO chair, I have worked with the Global University Network for Innovation. Global University Network for Innovation, GONI. I'm trying to rush so that I don't beat the deadline given by the chair. Global University Network for Innovation, called GUNI, is a UNESCO baby which came into life in 1998 after the first UNESCO conference on higher education. The second UNESCO conference on higher education was held in 2009, and it was after the second UNESCO conference on higher education that I, along with my co-chair, Dr. Bud Hall from Canada, were invited to focus on social responsibility in higher education. And we published, co-edited 2 GUNI reports. The 5th report of GUNI I have referenced in the slide earlier, which is entitled Knowledge, Engagement and Higher Education, Contribution to Social Change. After that 5th report was released in 2014, many academic leaders asked, but we are also facing the pressure from our governments and policymakers and everybody to say compete globally. So what do we do? So the 6th report, which is going to be released in a few weeks, I am one of the co-editors, is titled Towards Socially Responsible Universities, Balancing the Global and the Local. Because if we don't focus on the local, our chase for the global may actually uproot us from the local. I hope that when this report is available, it's open access, you can download it and see what examples it has. Just a final comment that you may wonder what social responsibility has to do with quality. If our curriculum, if our pedagogy, and if our research is carried out in an engaged fashion with the society around us, I believe it will have high standards of quality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Agrawal. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates, experts present in this seminar. The title of my presentation is Quality Enablers in Higher Education. Since yesterday, we have been talking a lot about outcome-based education. In an outcome-based education, we talk of the program educational objectives, program outcomes, and course outcomes. In this scenario, the enablers would definitely be human resources, that you have all the human resources, curriculum in all aspects, the infrastructure included. When you talk about these enablers, a bit more expansion if you do, we find the human resources will include all the stakeholders, management, students, faculty, supporting staff, employees, parents, and so on and so forth. And when you talk about the processes, curriculum development, curriculum delivery, teaching learning strategies, curriculum flexibility, mentoring, feedback, professional activities, and so on. And when you talk about outcome, what is the outcome that you are looking for? Okay, graduate aptitudes definitely would be one. Examination results, yes, some way. Type of employment, percentage is one aspect of it, but the quality of employment is another more important aspect. Higher studies, entrepreneurship, to what extent the education that we are providing, quality will be judged how successful we are in making them creative, innovative, things like that. Human resources, again, if we expand, you find management and administration very important component, faculty resources, students, supporting staff, employers, alumni, parents, which I said a little earlier. We talk of one particular parameter of the NBA accreditation, NAAC accreditation, governance, leadership, and management. There, we have been talking about the institutional vision and the leadership qualities. We all know how the vision affects the entire working of the system, and the quality is included. The strategy of development, deployment of the faculty, the resources, and everything else would be very important in assuring the quality of the education that goes on. The faculty improvement strategies, financial management and resource mobilization, internal quality assurance system that an institution has. Management and administration, when you talk, yes, financial stability is one important aspect which the management has to look into, because it has a large bearing on the quality that is to come finally from the system. Deployment, how the management will think about what are their strategies, action plans with respect to deployment and development of the quality faculty. Very important aspect. Establishing educational practices, unique educational practices, best practices. We have been seeing various institutions, including this university, there are a good number of best practices which contribute to a great extent to the quality that we finally talk about. Creation of appropriate infrastructure and conducive environment. Teaching, learning, evaluation, teacher quality. We talk of teacher quality, we talk of their qualifications. We must also talk of their relevance, social relevance, the industrial experience. How are they keeping, because if we are talking in the context of engineering, management, and other professional courses, then we must also see to what extent our teachers are concerned, familiar with the type of industry that they are going to cater to through the students that they are going to finally prepare. Student enrollment and their profiles, catering to student diversity, very important point. Yesterday also this point came up, and we have been talking about when we offer education in an educational institutions, what is the type of students that come here? Are the students belonging to the local area, state, or is it pan type of thing, pan-India type of, or are there students from other countries as well, so that there are, apart from education, cultural changes, are those happening through the educational system? To my mind, they are important components of the quality of education. Teaching learning process, is the teaching learning process that we are following, is the good one, good old ones, or the so-called the advanced ones? What is the way? The main thing is how far we are able to reach out to the students, how far we are able to understand their needs, their requirements, their diversities, in their, not only in their cultural diversities, but in their learning diversities or the learning differences. To what extent we are able to meet those. Student performance, evaluation process reforms are other components. Faculty resources, very important component. As I said earlier, faculty resource, their attainments and their excellence. Involvement and contributions to research and consultancy. Well, they are good old days, people used to say, I know, those who cannot teach, they write a book, and those who write a book, they cannot teach. I don't subscribe to such kind of things. I also don't subscribe that there should be teachers who will be doing only, or there will be only scientists who will be doing research and not contributing to transferring their knowledge to the society through the students, and thus they would not be taking part in the research, in the teaching. Good researchers, to my mind, are also good teachers. So there has to be that has to be looked into. Skills in teaching and curriculum content developments are certain components. Good qualification, good experience, PhD degree not necessarily would impart the skill in teaching. So what is the strategy by which we train our teachers in, or we skill them in the teaching profession? Industrial experience collaboration, I've already talked about. Leadership, attitude is very important one to what the involvement in the student mentoring and their counseling, participation in the professional societies, keeping in contact with peers, what is happening outside the institution where one works, interaction with peers, and contribution in social and extension activities, which Professor Tandon talked at length. Research, consultancy, and extension, important component in this particular context. Promotion of research is important thing that to be done by the management. Resource mobilization, again, important thing needed. Yes, there are genii who would have done research without any resource, without any infrastructure, but all would not be. So when we are talking in terms of general things, generalizing if we are to do, then we need the infrastructure, we need the resources. The publications, quality of publication is a very important thing. Due to unfortunate part is, because we have been stretching on publication, the number game somehow undermine the quality, and hence there are type of publishers, publication agencies have come up which are really eating into the ground, into the basis of the quality of publications today. And it is very difficult today to say certain, like Scopus index, well, that also there is certain amount of, my own observation is dilution has taken place in that context also. Consultancy activities, extension activities, and collaboration with outside the world, outside the institution. Students form another important component. We judge the quality of education through their performance. What percentage of the students that we have been able to train would be going for higher education, the quality of the placement. In the present context of startup, entrepreneurship, etc., and it has been there since beginning also, to what extent the training that you have done, the skilling that you have done, education that you have provided has made them entrepreneurs is one component of the success or the quality of the education. What extent the students we have been able to train to build in certain amount of learning ingredient, the traits, or for that matter, how are they innovative in their thinking, in their projects, in their ideas. Co-curricular activities, professional skills, extension. Student supports is progression is another criteria through which we can judge the quality of education that we are providing. And how does it happen? What is the kind of mentoring that you have done? Because quality will not come on its own. Mentoring and the support system. Progression is one indicator. Student takes admission first year at certain level. At the end of third year, fourth year, etc., 7th semester, 8th semester, what is the kind of progression that has, that has taken place? Do we really do any research to find out to what extent, what is the change that has taken place? It would be an indicator of the quality of the education. Their participation, to what extent we have been able to influence them to participate in professional activities, social activities, and so on and so forth. Extension outreach, I may not talk much because this has been a topic where a lot of people have talked. And this is an institution, a university, which has great emphasis on the outreach programs, social responsibility programs. And in the present context of our country, Swachh Bharat mission, we should be part of it. And that would also inculcate quality in our education. And that can be done. Swachh Bharat is one. Literacy programs, blood donations, equipping schools, so on and so forth. Many things are there which this university is doing and many others are doing. These are all open-ended things, dozens of such areas where people can contribute. We have to think about the innovation and the best practices. Innovation, creativity of the students would be a good indicator of the quality of education that you have done. And the quality of education that we will be imparting would be reflected through what kind of innovative practices that you have in the institution, organization. And this university, I am very happy to say, which I have observed a number of good best practices over here. Supporting staff should be trained, should have the trade skills, training, continuous training, continuing education type of things. Employer has a big role. Curriculum content design, they can contribute. Content delivery, quality will come. Internships they can provide. Feedback systems. Alumni is another important component. Parents, another one. Curriculum design and the development. Very important part of the education that we are talking about. What kind of flexibility? For example, a few things can be talked about. The flexibility that we provide in the curriculum to take care of the diversity of the students, diversity in terms of their levels, diversity in terms of their needs. That is it sufficiently inbuilt in the system that we develop here. What kind of program the curriculum provides for? Is it having some link with the vision of the institute? What are the courses that have been provided? What is the course outcome? Have we thought about the course outcome? Graduate aptitudes, flexibility, and open-ended, this is many more things, and these are all linked up together with the curriculum, and finally, which is linked to the quality of the education that we provide. Infrastructure, learning resources. Today, yes, we talk of ICT-based teaching learning process. We have come a long way since when I was a student in an institution. The teaching learning process then and now have undergone sea change, and change for the better that has taken place. Are we familiar with those changes? To what extent we are equipping ourselves with those changes to take care of the need of the day to day. Infrastructure, what kind of library that you have provided? Is the libraries sufficiently equipped? Are we telling the students or training the students or inspiring them for self-learning? And what is the facility that we have in the learning, in the library and things like that? Friends, I think about 20 minutes. I would like to end here and say that quality in the higher education will not come automatically. Quality will come when we all are quality conscious. We teachers and all the stakeholders and everything else that we talk about in the education, if it is the quality is inbuilt, the consciousness, the ideas are inbuilt, then we'll have finally the quality, higher quality in our technical education. I thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thanks, Chairman.
The chairman of the today's session, Professor Agrawal, and the eminent speakers, delegates, faculty members, and other friends. I thank you, Dr. Hanmantrao and KL University for inviting me for this today's talk. So, though the main topic is on the quality assurance in higher education, so the topic allotted is all-round development of the students in higher educational institutions to me. So this is our campus actually entrance gate, our IIIT Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Knowledge Technology. Now, the quality in higher education depends on 4 factors. The infrastructure in the college or university, main important is the quality of the stakeholders and the faculty and non-teaching staff and the management. If it is a private university, it is the management. If it is a government university, it is the government who support the institution. Until and unless the all 4 together, we cannot improve the quality in higher education. And all-round development of the students in the sense, we should provide all these things, then only the all-round development to the student will be there. Because for example, if you want to become an all-round development in the student, the college or university should have all the facilities, good faculty and good infrastructure for them to play, good playground and good auditoriums and very good classrooms, ICT-based classrooms, even the library you was talking, good library, and library is the main learning center. You should all NPTEL, today all lectures what we are going to give in the college, the class is all available on the NPTEL lectures or some other source, MOOC lectures, etc. So, if you provide all these facilities in the university, and the students will become, by the time they come out, they will become the all-round. Because today's education, you all know that until and unless you have a good infrastructure and highly qualified teachers, and you cannot attract the quality students. Today IITs are very becoming great because they are attracting the quality students. So without attracting the quality students, no institute can become a good institute. Though you provide everything, finally you want the students who are going to enter into the university or college should be a good student. So then after they enter, whether we are spoiling them or making all-round development of the student, it is the institution discipline, it is the facilities what we are going to do, how we are going to engage them, that is more important. Then they will become a all-round development. So we all know that today the country is measured by the knowledge economy, not like earlier wealth or arsenals. So to achieve university or educational institutions, you have to produce quality graduates. These are the 7 criteria for if you are going for accreditation in NAAC, but I need not repeat. And last, when you have to fulfill all criteria, then you have to judge yourself, your overall analysis, your strengths and weaknesses. Once you know what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses, then you will work for the development of your institution or the quality of your institution. So that's why to monitor all these things, in the NAAC accreditation, NAAC has said every institution or that is university or college should have IQAC, internal quality assurance cell. The role of internal quality assurance cell in higher educational institutions for quality assurance is very, very important. But yesterday some speaker was telling it is remain to a room where when NAAC team comes, this is the IQS cell, or when NAAC team comes, they will receive, they will visit, all these things are going on. So actually the IQS, internal quality assurance cell, as soon as the accreditation is over, they don't talk anything about in the quality. The role of the IQS is over. But they get up only when the next NAAC team is coming, visit 1 year before. It not even, I have seen in my own university, Usman University, one 7th oldest university, and one of the, now it is celebrating 100 years. So, but there also, when I took the charge as a Vice Chancellor Usman University, after 3 years of NAAC accreditation, 3.5 years I took the charge, there was nothing in the university, no IQC, no preparation of the, every year they have to send the annual quality assurance reports, annual reports. But if that is activity, so that's why what I suggest is the NAAC has to divide the 7 criteria, the IQAC has to divide the 7 teams actually. Each team should work on one of the criterion for the all 5 years. They should inspire these teachers, they should inspire the students, they should instruct the management, that the Vice Chancellor, Director or Principal, and what is needed for the institution for the development, and they also must concentrate on the earlier report. When they will give suggestions, they will also give the drawbacks. By the time you complete 4 years, 5 years, you should fulfill all the suggestions they have given, because with the suggestions only we learn what to do more in this institution, and the drawbacks they will tell that they have to improve. So if you wake up at the last moment, we cannot do all these things. So the advantage is the rank. If you improve the quality, you will get a better rank. If you get a better rank, today the students are looking in the website whether this college has the better rank or not, good grade or not. Because when I was a principal of Nizam College, one of the oldest college in the Andhra Pradesh, combined Andhra Pradesh, or maybe one in among the nation also. So I used to attract a lot of foreign students. After joining, they said this college had B++ grade, because there is no coordination, because that college has everything, but he got B++ grade. The students, foreign students were asking, you have a B grade? Now then I started stopping giving grade, announcing grade to my institution to attract all these people, because that will help. Grading is important for attracting good students. And the quality of teachers play important. Suddenly quality will not come for the teachers. At the time of recruitment, the management, that the Vice Chancellor, the Director, or the private institution, the management has to play very good role, and they have to select a very qualified teachers, and who can have the ability to teach, and also very good attitude, good publications. Because though he is a very good teacher, has a knowledge and a lot of publications, if he doesn't have a good attitude, the university or college has to suffer 35 years for him. We cannot remove him. So in research consultancy, if you talk about this, actually where from the research and consultancy will come? It is faculty who is going to, because university will give basic facilities which is needed for the students, but other facilities where from come? If the teacher are good quality teacher, and the students whom we attracted, because teacher alone cannot do, the research will go on if we have a good teacher. Most of the successful research guides today, great scientists, are because of their great students. Without students you cannot do, because you have ideas, you have other things to do, that ideas should be implemented, practiced in the laboratory by the student. So that's why students are more important, teachers are more important, teachers should get the grants, teachers should write the projects. So then only university overall their financial position will also improve, their infrastructure will improve, their facilities will improve. So that I can tell you by the small example. For example, in a university like any other university, your departments are SAP, special assistance program. Your departments will get CAS, your department will get DST FIST funding, your departments will get AICT, DBT funding. All these fundings, how will get? Just the Vice Chancellor writes a project, all are going to come. These projects will come if we have a good teachers, dedicated teachers who does good research, because all these people sitting here are in the committees. They will go to the universities, they will go to the department, will assess how many teachers we have, what is the teacher ratio, 4:2:1 is there, or minimum number of teachers are there or not, why, how many publications they have published, what is the impact factor, what is the citation index, based on that they will give this. When you get these accreditations or when you get all these statuses, you will get lot of money to the department or to the college or to the university in general. So who is responsible for that? The teachers, students are responsible. But unfortunately today, most of the universities, the quality of research is dying, not because they are good. When they joined, they are good only. So they are not thinking that I am getting salary. So whether I do research or not, if I teach in the class, enough. But teaching and research should go together, and if they work hard, they work for the institution, they will become financially sound, and at the same time the university will get all these ranks, if all these statuses. If university gets all these first 5 statuses, so we will go for the next important status, that is also will get money. I think getting UPE status for university, getting CPE status for a college, getting take you for a university engineering college or a private engineering college. How they will give again? UPE status comes, it depends on how many SAP departments are there, how many CAS departments are there, how much DBT FIST funding is there, how much AICT funding is there. So who is responsible for that? What will happen UPE status? There are now today only 15 universities in the country, including central universities, has UPE status. When I was Vice Chancellor, Usmania University got the UPE status. So with that, large amount of money will come. Some universities got 100 crores, some universities got 50 crores. It is the biggest grant where a university gets from UPE status. So for all that, take a lot of money comes to engineering college. Center for Excellence, lot of money comes to university. So this is all coming because of the quality of the teachers, dedication of the teachers, and how much they work, how much they publish, not the quantity. So just like many speakers are talking, every SSBN is that is not the paper. Quality paper means it should be have a citation index, it should have the impact factor at least 3, 4, whatever it may be, right? There are people publishing in universities with 10 impact factor also. We need such type of publications. I think all this in general you mentioned, every speaker is taking, so I am not going to continue. Now when you go to the international ranking actually, okay, so before going that, so for going international ranking or you want to compete with the international standard, you should have lot of industry collaborations, you should have collaboration with neighboring institutions, collaborations with nationally best institutions. How can you collaborate? By seeing Usmania University or by seeing Rajiv Gandhi University? Nobody will come. We must have capability. That means our institution, our teachers, our departments are progressively doing strong research. Then we can have all these collaborations, and we must have a center for what you call the incubation centers, right? You should be able to give the space. You should be able to give the unlimited internet. Then only they will come and start incubation centers. So now, when you go to the world ranking, actually first world ranking was the Shanghai ranking. It is published in 2003 by Jiaotong University in China. The purpose of this world ranking is actually, the purpose of this world ranking is only to make universities in China, world class universities in China. That purpose they have started, and they are in the process, they are making world class universities. So today, now everybody is using ranking across the country. Okay. Now, the ranking is important again for the earning of the university only, right? Attracting the good students only. Okay. So, the ranking is important because, for example, the Brazil is sending almost 10,000 students every year to other countries where the highly ranked universities with scholarship they are sending with scholarship. So that means until unless your university is ranked in the world rank, they don't send their students. Now, nowadays actually universities are, private universities like this are depending on the student income, particularly foreign students admissions. If the large number of foreign students comes, their fee structure is high, and you can you can get the income, you can make money. So I think UK, United Kingdom is getting, I think, 10,000 billion pounds from the students, from the overseas students. Now they are wanted to make the overseas students strength. Another, by 2018, they wanted to increase another 90,000 students, overseas students, so that they can increase their like that. So like that, even if you want to attract the good foreign students, even we need a good ranking, good quality. Good ranking will be because of the good quality in education, infrastructure, and other facilities. So for that we need, and not only that, to educate our own students also quality, because if India will become a developed country only if we can make our student more innovative, more quality students, then we can compete with the world ranking students. So now even our UGC also wanted to have partnership with the other countries in the world whose rank is below 500. Russian government wanted to have a partnership or allow the students from other universities to Russia for jobs or for higher education if the university ranking is below 300 only. So that means the ranking is very important, the quality in higher education is very important, quality improves, the overall development of the students will also take place. So you all know that we need not repeat, unfortunately our universities are, none of our universities are below 200 ranking. So GER, because not much time I don't tell the GER, you all know the GER, and though we have our education system has increased, so there is still problem in access, equity, quality, and other things. Quality, because access, equity we are taking care, but quality is a concern today, right? So we are increasing quantity wise, we are increasing 20% GER today. How many students are employable? How many students are becoming entrepreneurs? That is more important. So because most of the students studying, taking degree, either to become an entrepreneur, either to get a job. So that quality is missing today. That the main reason for this is actually our school education is not up to the mark. So we are concentrating more and more on the higher education government. School education should be strengthened today. Until and unless you get a quality students from schools, all government schools today is not up to the mark. Some private schools are okay, but they cannot, because they are only less than 50%. More than 50% are government schools. I think more of the rural students or talented students are studying the government schools. Right? That's why our university, Rajiv Gandhi University of Knowledge Technology, has been started. It is for the rural students. We tap students, 10th class passed students from rural, and intermediate plus 4 years engineering degree we will give. It is 100% residential. Student need not pay anything, so it will be reimbursed by the government. We give everything. Every student will be given a laptop. It's monitored by the in higher education. They are suffering because of the two major differences. One is the quality norms are not comparable with the international standards. Another is the enforcement process is not stringent, because we are all human beings, I think. So different types of people will go, and we are not very stringent rules we are applying. So the cost of education, research, shortage of teachers is one of the important problem in our educational institutions. Particularly in government institutions, most of the universities or government colleges, more than 50% of the positions are vacant. They are filled with some, they have MSc, but I can say unqualified teachers being appointed, and the universities are running. How can you estimate? But luckily, institutions like KL University, like private universities, they have freedom to appoint. For example, the university which I am running, it is in a rural area. So in city, they can call the retired IIT teachers, retired engineering college professors from universities. By paying huge salary, they can attract. But in government institutions, that freedom is not there. We are unable to pay more and attract the faculty. We have to follow the government rules. So that's why the standards of education is going down day by day. So about 45% of the private colleges or universities or schools are there, and they are catering to the needs of 37% of the students. So to develop the world-class institutions, so there must be interaction with the academic institutions in India and abroad through exchange of faculty and students, involvement of industry personnel in curriculum design, and project guidance, setting up of incubation centers and laboratories. Good alumni association is important. The alumni should be involved in the management and as a form of governing body. They should be involved in the curriculum preparation, being based on their expertise. And university must go beyond classroom teaching, and they should also involve industry people for the curriculum designing. And the university must go beyond classroom teaching, so that means some social responsibilities they must have. They should involve in the Swachh Bharat mission, Digital India program, Samsad Adarsh Grama Yojana program. So like this, these programs they have to involve, so that overall development of students will come, because when they participate in the outreach programs, actually students and teachers should involve in outreach program. That means whatever they learn in the university should take to the society, either in the school level, college level, or whatever the experiments what they are doing, it should be known. So like that, if you do, I think you can make the student overall development. Another 1 or 2 points I'll tell you. For the overall development, actually, so institution, it should be the IAG model. Industry, academia, and government. These three people should work together. Then only the quality education will come. Because this IAG model is there in the Western countries. It is running beautifully. So we have also say IAG model, but in government institutions we are not getting much support. The government institutions, the government pays in the form of block grant. That means the money what they are give is not even sufficient for the salaries of the teachers who are on rolls. Whatever the income we earn in the university, examination income, affiliation income, foreign student income, that is useful for paying the pension. There is no developmental grant. So for that developmental grant, who has to get is our teachers has to work, do good research. We have must have good research faculty, research students. So do good research, get good grants, and you can get the development grants like UP and other status. And if you say social responsibility, in terms of social responsibility, in the sense, one is our student must be innovative in nature. So how they will be innovative? For example, if you cannot innovative, I think everybody knows that a small example, an iPod manufacturer is China. The cost of selling of the iPod is $400, but the manufacturer China gets less than $10. The remaining goes to the Apple company. So that means students must be innovative at the student level, then they become innovative at this. So social responsibility, one of the last example I'll tell you how the students should be the socially responsible. That means whatever they do, it should be useful to the society. For example, I think Dr. Shelkar, the former Director General of CSR, he instituted a award in his mother's name. But recently, one IITian got that award. So that award is actually very simple but very important. It should be cost effective also. That award is actually one IITian recently got. So that is, most of the rural people are anemic. They don't give their blood sample for the test. So to know the hemoglobin levels. So this IIT student has innovated a small instrument which can test the blood sample in a non-invasive model. Right? So that again the cost is also not much. The earlier cost is 100 or 150 rupees. He can test each sample for 10 rupees. So this is possible only for the quality students at the bottom. If they are innovative, I think we can do. I think if the student is overall development is there, then they can achieve all these things. Hope I have taken 20 minutes. I don't want to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Narayana. The first one has come up with a very different thought. And one way that we take the presenter voice, the other is that we discuss and look at what is that conclusive point which three of them have made put together. If you agree, what I'll request each one of them once again to say 2 lines in which they thought is their main crux of their own presentation. And thereafter the questions. With you, Tandonji.
Well, I look at higher education as making contributions for societal development. Therefore, higher education institutions, in all their activities, teaching, learning, research, service, they must approach it in a socially responsible framework. And that means that irrespective of what subject you are teaching, irrespective of what research you are doing, irrespective of what discipline you have expertise in, you ask yourself how this can be socially useful in the context in which the institution is located. I think this can be done if we think about ways in which learning happens both in the classroom and in the society. It can be done when research is carried out both in the labs and in the society. And research communication happens both in journals but also in ways that people in society can understand the meaning of our findings. So I think it is possible.
To you, sir.
Yeah. In my presentation, what I wanted to convey was, when you talk about quality in an education, higher education system, it stands on 3 pillars, most important pillars. One pillar happens to be the human enablers. The second pillar is the process that we design, develop, deploy, implement. And then the third process is what is the outcome that we have in our mind, based on which the enablers have been deployed, trained and retrained type of things, and the processes. And in this, what I wanted to say is that amongst all these, the teachers play a very important role. They are not only their involvement in teaching, their involvement in research, being able to attract research projects and bring in resources and inspire the students, the way they deliver and the way they reach out to the students they reach out to the society at large, train the students to be part of the society. That is very important, and there lies the importance of the teachers. And the outcome has to be assured, and that outcome will come not only in terms of the education the type of education that we provide, but the education that it should lead the students to become innovative, so the responsive citizens, and innovative, creative. So that was the main thrust of mine.
Thank you. To you, sir.
So I always feel that in most of the educational institutions, the teaching and research must go together, because until and unless you have a research bent of mind, the teaching will be restricted to your textbook. So the overall day-to-day quality education comes from the research, and your institution will also be recognized outside the country, in the country or outside the world, the type of research what you are doing. But whatever you are doing here, it should be relevant to the society, and you should also relevant in the sense until and unless you go and interact with the society. Sometimes rural people will be doing something greater which we do not know. So when you go and interact with them, we can share with them, and we can take their ideas and we can tell our ideas. So recently our institution has a collaboration with one of the research foundation in Nizamabad, near 30 kilometers away from our institution, where some sandbox, some NRA has started. So their project is mostly a social responsibility. They take the social projects, so our students are being involved in that.
Thank you. So now you heard three of them. The discussion can be on two lines. Number one, do you agree with the thesis they made? As far as I am concerned, I raised two more issues and side with Tandonji to an extent, that if the quality education is to go ahead, we have to think out of box. If the three speakers, in your opinion, have made one point you think is an out-box thinking, and which should become a policy point. So that is open now for looking at that point. Shall we send? Mike? Professor Anand Krishnan is asking question. Yeah, please.
I think Dr. Rajesh Tandon has raised a very important issue, and we need to think about it in greater detail. Instead of depending on borrowed models, I think we would now have to think on indigenous models. Like the corporate social responsibility, some time ago we started talking about institutional social responsibility. Now my question to Dr. Tandon is, has this, as far as you know, has this in any way been actualized in any of the institutions that you know of, in India or abroad?
Thank you, sir. There are many examples of parts of realization, because for an institution as a whole to be realized, it is work in progress. It is, you move in that direction. I'll give you only a couple of small examples just from India, because the examples from other contexts may or may not make sense. We have been working with the university in Gujarat, which does architecture courses. And the way architecture was being taught was basically standard rules, procedures, bylaws, design principles, etc. And we, a few years ago, 3-4 years ago, encouraged, one faculty was interested, worked with the faculty member, send the students to look at housing of slums in Ahmedabad. Just outside, slums are everywhere. They're outside your university campus. You just don't look at it as a research question. And they came back looking at how design principles were changed in order to make livable accommodation within the constraints that was available. What was its implication for the laws that they had studied and the benchmark standards that they had studied, and that were there any innovative practices in those community designs. And now it has become a standard practice. They call it design labs. They've just given a name for it. But it's basically first year students go out, do a project there, then they come back and make their recommendations to housing departments and slum improvement commissions or whatever. The second example we have is from the law faculty in near Sonipat. And these students of law are studying all kinds of law in classroom and occasionally going to the court. But they are not looking at law from the point of view of people whose rights the law is supposed to protect. So we worked with them, and now all law students, irrespective of their specialization in year 4 or 5, in year 1, 2, and 3, every year do a credit-based course, not just something you do in the evening or weekends, where they use their understanding of law, let's say social justice law, women's protection law, land laws, but study that how the law actually operates from the point of view of the so-called citizens or beneficiaries. And those who want to specialize later on in year 4 or 5, we offer them a what in normal parlance is called self-study or flexible course or a project-based credit course. So there are examples that are coming up, but I would not say institutional social responsibility has been realized in any institution fully. But I think in teaching, more than in research, there is a greater degree of innovation that is possible today in the way it is happening.
Can I add 2 points here? Let me open to 2 other policy points. One is that the country is committed for universalization of education. Now, it has a very vast ramification. That would mean more and more people will be thrown into higher education. But more than that is our commitment to achieve the MDG goals, which is Millennium Development Goals. And one of the aspects in the total sum of Millennium Development Goal is to look at alleviation of poverty. Is education is a vehicle through which we reach that goal? This is the question which the Niti Aayog is asking. They are now looking a new method of a curriculum in which all that activity or learning occurs around benefiting the citizen at last. So they would be judged not by many other things, but are we able to contribute towards removal of poverty? One. Now in doing in practice, I was doing some work with Rajiv Gandhi Technical University. And to bring this social responsibility, kind of a field research, we brought a part of undergraduate curriculum. We have now, it's under implementation. We brought the first year student to go to field to understand the environmental issues, no teaching. Because till 10+2, lot of teaching occurs in schools about environmental issues. For them to go and find out in the society at large, whether it in their neighborhood or outside, and it's a mind you credit structure, 2 credit structure, where teams of students will go, identify the problems. As he said that you walk across, from here to station you walk across and there are a lot of engineering solutions are required. So when you travel around in groups under guidance of a senior faculty, you then try to identify the environmental issues and the likely solutions based on your understanding of your knowledge till you acquire. There's one exercise being done. This has been followed by, again a 3 credit course, is called the rural attachment. It has 3 functions. One, that it is a necessity that a student would dialogue with the publicly elected representatives. The issue today among students is that their own dialogue mechanism is so poor. By nature, since we are all here from engineering arena, our communication with public at large as engineers is very limited. Our vocabulary is also very limited. 1,000 words is good enough for us to get our degree and get away. but that's not a fact. Society communications are very different. So number one is to communicate with the elected representatives of the society. In mind you, under 72nd and 73rd Amendment of Constitution, Panchayati Raj institutions have been given bulk of the power of local development. And I thought many of you would know that whole village planning, town planning is now with them. So how this dialogue of students with these people culminate in terms of recognizing problems of that area, and then they come back with a suggestion, again under a guidance of a teacher, come back with the suggestion that if this is a problem, these are likely solutions and these are likely steps. Now we are going one ahead. Now they are presenting steps. This is followed by another three credit curriculum, points again, is called the idea generation. So they have field experience, they have dialogue, communication, understanding of problem. Now they are ready to come up in a given class of 60, 12 batches to say, now I know what are the problems in the society. I can suggest a problem, and this is my idea, 5 people, and this is my solution is, which you are all calling a startup. So this originates from local problem, not from industrial problem as such, arising from local problem, going upwards, and it is expected, and it is now visible, that students are lacking this maximum. There is no examination, it is only the teacher evaluation who is the mentor. So it's a freedom from a rote learning. So sir, these tidbits now are coming in. And in fact, the whole exercise has been designed in such a manner that they will follow it by a term paper, followed by learning from what is called mentors. Mentors will come from industry, mentors will come from field workers from NGO. And finally culminate into a minor project, major projects, and norm standards. So that's the whole chain of the new relationship with society in a process. But if you look at any of the NBA and NAAC, they don't recognize any of these things. So the question would come, when you do these exercise, do they become benchmark, as he rightly said? The question to be debated here, would you make a recommendation that in future they become a policy points so that these accrediting bodies look at them? That's the point I thought we must debate too.